Hey guys, so Austin Drummond had his preliminary hearing today. I'm going to discuss everything that went down. So the court ended up opening up with the prosecution calling their first witness. This is a officer. His name is Corey Husey. He is a park ranger with the Tennessee State Parks, and he was actually working on the 29th of July. He said during his patrol on Carrington Road on the 29th, he saw three cars, a black Dodge Charger, a Chevy, and a Nissan Rogue. He passed by the vehicles, turned around, and came back. At this point, the Nissan had gone and it had a California tag on it. He said that when he initially drove by, the black Dodge Charger's trunk was open, but when he circled back around, which was about 2 or 3 minutes later, the trunk had been closed. He didn't see anyone inside or outside of the vehicles at either time. After this, the prosecution called upon their second witness, Deputy Hunter Brady. Deputy Brady was also working on July 29th, and he was made aware earlier in the day of a baby being abandoned in Dyer County. He said that later in the day he received a call letting him know that the vehicles of the baby's parents had been located. He ended up responding to that call on Carrington Road in Lake County, and this is when he found the Chevy and the Dodge at that location. He said he ran the registration on the Dodge Charger and then searched around the vehicle. This is when he saw a red substance in the passenger side rear of the Chevy and then saw a shoe on the trail outside of the vehicle. That shoe, he said, had blood on it. He said that he started walking into the woods where the shoe was kind of at. He followed that path, and this is when he discovered two bodies directly behind the Chevy. He later said he found multiple shell casings outside of the vehicles. Deputy Brady said that he initially saw a male, and underneath the male was a female. This is believed to have been Braden and his mother, Courtney. He said that there was a tarp on top of both of them. Another Dyer County deputy arrived on scene and saw another shoe on the left side of the road. He approached, saw that the shoe had blood on it, and then found two additional bodies again underneath a tarp. Dyersburg Police Department Detective Brandon Wheeler was the prosecution's third witness today, and he said that he became involved in the case because he was trying to identify a vehicle of interest. And this was the Nissan with the California plates that the first witness saw leaving the crime scene. There were several screenshots from traffic cams of this vehicle in question that they presented to witness number 3, showcasing this vehicle in Jackson at 11:22 a.m. on July 29th, as well as around 12:39 p.m. on the 29th in Dyersburg. There was also a screenshot from footage of the vehicle driving around 2:15 p.m. and 4 p.m. In this footage, the vehicle is visibly much dirtier. The witness also says that in one of the photos you can see a man who appears to be Austin Drummond driving it. Agent Scott Lawson with the FBI testified on behalf of the prosecution next, and he actually specializes in cell phone analysis and the exploitation of cell phone data. This is a lot of info. I'm going to just read it verbatim to you guys. So he started by investigating the analysis of the victims' phones. He said that he was under the impression that the victims had to have been communicated with in order to get them all at this specific location. So he started looking at text messages and calls from the victims' phones. That's when he noticed that there was unusual activity from a number that did not appear to have any association with the victims. It first appeared at 6:38 in the morning. Now they ended up getting a subpoena for the number and discovered that this specific phone had been purchased the night prior at a Walmart in Dyersburg. At 7:25 the morning of July 29th, the phone was actually calling the person associated with the Nissan, and based on geolocation records for this cell phone, they actually were able to see that this specific person who was using the phone was at the crime scene, then started traveling south from the crime scene. He said investigators also determined that Matt Wilson's vehicle, one of the victims, was going southbound after the crime scene at 7:25 as well, and that the phone number was moving in association with that truck. Lawson said that investigators were able to find out that the Nissan in question was actually a rental vehicle. It was rented the day before the unalivings by someone named Mitchell. Now, Mitchell is actually the girlfriend of Giovanni Thomas, one of Austin Drummond's friends who was actually arrested and is now being charged with accessory to first-degree murder after the fact. Now, when Mitchell was interviewed, she said that she had put this car in her name because Austin Drummond had requested that she do that. Now, back to the phone data, Lawson said that the phone number traveled to an area known as Bikini Bottoms after the crime. That's an area commonly used by off-road vehicles. While the phone traveled from the crime scene, a victim's phone moved with it. The phone stayed in the area until around 9 a.m. Lawson believes that someone got rid of evidence at the Bikini Bottom location. Later, authorities ended up finding Matthew Wilson's driver's license and his late 80s Ford F-150 truck in that area. The suspect's phone began traveling toward Jackson around 9:04 a.m. Lawson said it arrived in the Jackson area about an hour later. Once in Jackson, it went to the Clarion Hotel, then to the Cherry Grove Apartments, and then began traveling back toward Dyersburg. The Cherry Grove apartment is where a couple of Austin Drummond's friends live, and this is also where his girlfriend Caitlin Speed lives. The Clarion Hotel is where Austin was reportedly staying at, as well as where his Audi was found in the parking lot. Lawson said that Tanaka Brown was the one who actually picked Drummond up at the Bikini Bottoms area and then took him to the Clarion. After this, the pair went to the apartments where Drummond's girlfriend lives, and it was at his girlfriend's apartment where he acquired cleaning style brushes. Now, by 11:55 a.m., the phone was traveling toward Bells, Tennessee. It reached Dyersburg at around 12:39 p.m., and then by 1:04 p.m., it was north of Tiptonville and near the crime scene. From 2:32 p.m. to 2:35 p.m., the phone began moving toward Friendship, Tennessee, which is where Adriana and Matt's 8-month-old baby was ultimately abandoned. And then between 2:35 p.m. and 2:55 p.m., the phone was traveling back toward Dyersburg. Around 3:39 p.m., the phone began traveling toward Jackson, Tennessee, and from 4:22 p.m. to 6:06 p.m., the phone was pinging near Austin Drummond's parents' home. The phone then returned back to the Clarion Hotel area and then to the Cherry Grove Apartments, again where Caitlin Speed, his girlfriend, lives. Around 8:44 p.m., while he is at this apartment, that is when the phone is shut off and never turned back on. Now, the prosecution's fifth witness was Justin Tubbs. He was actually someone who responded to the scene and then was shown around. He saw the bodies, the vehicles, and the blood. He said that the Chevy was known to be driven by Courtney Rose, one of the four victims, and he said that all of the bodies that were underneath the tarps suffered one GSW to the head, with the exception of Matthew Wilson, who suffered 11 GSWs. The prosecution ended up playing video of Courtney Rose's car traveling toward the crime scene. A short while after, her 15-year-old son Braden Williams' vehicle was seen traveling toward the crime scene, and then about 20 minutes after this, Matthew Wilson's vehicle, his Ford F-150, was traveling toward the crime scene as well, with someone in the passenger seat. Around 7:25 that morning, the Ford F-150 is seen driving away from the crime scene with only one person in the vehicle, the driver. Now, Tanaka Brown did end up admitting to Justin Tubbs that he did pick up Austin Drummond from this Bikini Bottoms area and that the baby was with them at this time. The baby was with them even when Austin Drummond went to Caitlin Speed's apartment and got cleaning supplies and those brushes. Now, this part I thought was interesting. While Justin Tubbs was being cross-examined by the defense, they actually asked him why were the victims all at the scene of the crime, and Tubbs basically said that he believes that the family members were introducing contraband into the prison. There was no contraband recovered from the scene, but that is what authorities are currently believing. Now, Austin Drummond's defense attorney is not disputing the fact that Austin had the baby. He had Matthew and Adriana's baby during this day, but he is saying that there is no evidence that has been presented thus far showcasing that Austin Drummond fired a weapon. So basically, Austin's attorney is saying, yeah, Austin was at the scene of the crime when the crimes were taking place. He did take Matthew and Adriana's baby and abandoned the baby in the front of someone's yard, but he didn't actually take anyone's life. Now, this hearing ultimately ended with the judge issuing a gag order. Putting a gag order into place means that we, the public, are going to get very minimal information about this case until this case goes to trial, and this is to ensure Austin Drummond's right to a fair trial. The judge also said that there is probable cause for the unalivings of Adriana, Matthew, Braden, and Courtney, and he ultimately rejected the defense's request to get that no contact order lifted. They want him to be able to communicate with his girlfriend, Caitlin Speed. Austin really wants to talk to Caitlin, but but the judge is not allowing it. He said that she is probably going to be a witness at this trial, and he does not want him communicating with her. What do you guys think of all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to follow for more updates on this case. Things are probably going to be quiet for a little while, but once they amp up and if anything comes out in the meantime, I'll be sure to share it with you guys.